Hello, good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? Don't be shy.
Doing great.
Yay! Is that you, Kristen?
It is.
Hey, how are ya?
Doing good. How are
Good,
you?
good. Husband's getting the kids in bed.
You get a nice break.
Yeah, I know, right? Very strategic. I'm just joking. Oh, we'll give just a second for everybody to hop on. Then we'll get going. All right. Oh gosh. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. We are recording, so this will be posted. I'll post it tomorrow morning. So hope everybody's having a great week so far. We had a super busy week, right? With the let's see, with all of the retiring shades, with sorry guys, conference, being able to register for conference. So you guys, I can't say it enough how amazing conference is and will be. So if you can make it happen, make it happen. I know Las Vegas is, for a lot of us, is a far, far, far away place. But it's one of the best things you can do to invest in your business. So I highly recommend it. We will, I'm going to give it a few days, but once we start to really get registered, I'm going to create a Facebook group for all of us that are registered and going, so we can know where everybody's staying, when they're getting in, flights, things like that. So I'll let you know when I get that created. But tonight, I kind of am doing like what the questions I get asked the most. So I'm going to cover about 4 to 5 questions that I get asked a lot. And it's really just practical things about the business. I love a good mindset training. I love a good business, like how to be a business owner training. But sometimes y'all just want the practical things about being a color street stylist. So that's what I'm going to give you tonight. And I feel like they all kind of go together, so it's not going to be too random. But we're going to talk about samples, what I send with my samples, who I send them to, how I track them, how I follow up with them. And then that kind of leads into when I do get orders, do I send anything with them, things like that. And then I'm going to chat a little bit about Facebook parties. So first, sample. I am going to show you guys my sample request form. And if you've been on this team for a little while, you've probably already seen it and you know that I use them. But if not, this might be new to you. And if so, I highly encourage you to do sample request forms. It might seem scary at first if you've never used Google Form, but once you really get down to knowing how to do it and making one, you could make 10 of them and it'd be so easy. But once you make your one sample request form, that's all you need. And I'm going to show you mine. I'm going to screen share. So let me do that real quick. Let me make sure I do this correctly. Okay, can y'all see my screen? Perfect. All right, so you're going to go to Google. I would just, I don't know the technical. It might just be www.google.com/forms, I think is how you get to forms. You're going to sign up if you haven't already. And then your home is going to look like this. And as you can see, I have so many forms I've created over the past few years. But to just get started on one, you're going to click blank. But first, I'm going to show you my form. And then after I show you what it looks, or first, let me tell you who I'm giving the form to and where I'm posting it. Most of the time I'm posting these in my VIP, and not my VIP group, my Facebook parties. I do not offer samples in the beginning of the party. I feel like it holds up orders and it prolongs the party. I have tried both where I've tried 3 things where I offered samples in the beginning, and then I've tried offering samples at the end, and I've also tried just not offering samples at all. And I feel like what works best for me is offering samples at the end. Offering samples in the beginning, it definitely prolonged the party. People were waiting for their samples. People wanted to, if you offer it, they're going to want to try before they buy. If they don't even know that samples are a thing, they're just gonna buy. And with my early bird special, which I'll share with you guys in a little bit, that's mainly what happens. They just buy. And then once we kind of get through a party, we go through the party, and it's a few days after the party, and maybe she is sitting at 0, and I'm like, all right, girl, we're gonna offer samples, like we're going to get people to try this. Or maybe she's sitting at like 130, and you want to get her to the next reward level. That's when I start to offer the samples. Let me see if I can bring up the chat. Do the completed forms show up in your email? I'm going to chat about that in just a second. I'm glad you asked that. So Facebook parties, I do offer samples, but it's at the end. I'll also put in my VIP group, and I can show you guys real quick what it looks like. I have an announcement at the top of my VIP group. It's one of my announcements, I should say. And I have the sample request form in this caption. So it just talks a little bit about me, the buy 3 get 1 free, buy 3 get 1 free special, and then the sample request form. And then I'm constantly talking about that in my VIP group in case people are adding, friends, which does not happen very often, but okay, and then I also put this on my Instagram account, and this is totally up to you guys. I have a Linktree account, and it's basically a place where it's just like a landing page for all your links. And so I have it on that. I share it in my personal page whenever I talk about the nails. I always make sure I put the link in there too. And I feel like that's just, instead of saying I have samples, comment below to grab one. I feel like people like kind of like a backdoor in type thing. Some people are just weird and they don't want to comment and let people know they're interested. They kind of just want like that backdoor, like, okay, well, I can fill out a form and nobody has to know I've requested a sample. So that's mainly where I'm posting this link. Okay, so let's now look at my form. I'm gonna minimize myself. So here's what my form looks like. It's so simple, you guys. I'm gonna share, I'm not gonna probably do a tutorial on how to make it because we have a training on that. I'm just gonna give you kind of like a look at what it says and why I have what I have in here. So basically just to have you haven't had a chance to try it, just add your address. I put a picture of my nails, my personal nails. I get their first and last name, their email address, their mailing address, so I know where to send it to, their Facebook name so that I can make sure and I have some sort of way to contact them on Facebook. And then whose party are you attending? So if this is for if I'm posting in someone's party, I can know whose friend it is. This is a very important part, and a part that is just the most genius thing. I'd like more info on, and this really is how I've gotten several hostesses without having to reach out to anybody. They'll click, they want to host or they want more information on hosting an online party. And then I've gotten a few people click the Becoming a Color Street Rep. Most people click none of the above, but it really is exciting when somebody clicks one of these, and I just think that's a good way. And it maybe nothing comes out of it, but at least you have information from that person that, okay, they do want more info on it. And then I asked them to join my Facebook group. And then this commitment, type your name below if you commit to posting a photo of your nails in my VIP group in exchange for a free pair of accent nails. I always call them accent nails. I don't say sample a lot except for at the top of the thing because I want them to feel like it's, that they can add it to any mani. It's not just like a sample that they put on and immediately take off. And then if you're a part of a Facebook group or a Facebook party, please post pics of your nails in there. I will be honest, not a lot of people end up posting their sample, but that's okay. At least, I'm throwing it out there. So the reason that I love this is, like I said before, I feel like it gives people a backdoor, and it's so easy to track the responses. And instead of me, and I'm total pen and paper, you guys. I'm not really, I don't like Excel. I don't like all those things. I am a pen and paper type person, but if you're efficiently working your business and you're getting this form out there, you're going to hopefully have a lot of requests. Now, if I had a notebook of 87 names, it would be probably a mess. And so I love that I can track this. And even though I'm pen and paper, I love, this is the only technology type tracking that I do. But you go to responses and you go to individual. I think Carrie was the one who asked if you want to receive the responses and know when they're coming in. It's one of these that you can click, get email notifications for new responses. Super simple. But it will give you their information. Now let me go forward a few, because I changed it up and I want to make sure hold on, let me just go to 87, my recent one. All right, so Morgan Whitaker, she gave me her email address. I now have her mailing address. You guys, in the beginning, I was getting them to message me their mailing address. Well, then it would get buried in messages and I'd have to go find it. This is super simple. I just go straight here. She tells me what party she was in. So now I know it's Danielle's girl. She did not want any information on this. She did join my group. So not only is this a great way for you to get the sample out, but now they're automatically in your group. And you're not having to add anybody in your group. So it's really bringing several steps together in one. Now that I've gotten the requests, and let's talk about what I send in my samples, okay? So I'm not going to screen share anymore. Okay, so what I send in my samples. Got a couple of things here. My cat is going crazy. Okay, super easy once I got it created. But I'm not gonna lie, it took me a little while to figure out everything that I wanted to add, because I wanted to somehow talk about the opportunity. I wanted to somehow talk about tips, the good tips, because I was finding myself word vomiting in a message when I would say okay girl, I got your sample sent out, here's all my tips, and then and then I wanted to talk about hosting a party, so I wanted to touch on everything, but I had to I didn't want to word vomit. So here's what I did. On the app Over, which I think you do have to buy it, but there's a free version. I just don't think it's as good. I designed a couple of different things. And then I just printed them off on a postcard size paper on Vistaprint. and I don't know if you're going to see this. I have shared this in the team page, so I can try to like tag it up to the top of the team page so you can see more in detail. But until then, I'm just going to share. So tips for your tips, or tips for your tips. And I just printed out all of my tips that I have that I was telling them in a message and just put it on this piece of paper. On the other side, I talk about being a hostess, and I list out the hostess rewards, and I talk a little bit like we can do a Facebook party or in person. I promise to provide a positive and fun experience for your guests and help you earn as many free sets as possible. So I'm just planting a seed. That's all I'm doing. And then on this one, I have the opportunity. So this side has a picture of what they get in the kit. And then this side, you can barely see it. It turned out to be really, really tiny. I'm going to have to fix the next one. But it's literally just like a paragraph of my story. Why I started Color Street, how it's blessed my family, and then just letting them know if they want any information, just ask. I think I'll also put my website. That's a whole nother story, but I have a domain that is linked to my link tree, which is my landing for all my links. And on that link tree, I have a link to our sneak peek. So you could do that. But that was everything that I was usually word vomiting. And now I'm also planting seeds about hosting a party and the opportunity. So I add those two things. I add the sample postcard. If you do not get these, that's okay. Just add, your samples and then put it in like a little note card. I add my business card, and then usually I write a thank you note and a cute little card, but I ran out of cards this week. So I'm just putting a Post-it. And it just says, Rachel, I hope you love your sample. Let me know if you have any questions. That's it. So all of that goes in one of these. I put a stamp on it and I send it out. I will message them and let them know I'll take like a picture of it and let them know I just sent it out. So that kind of opens up some line of communication if it hasn't already been started. Could the new opportunity brochure take the place of the second card? Yes, absolutely. Now, the only thing about those is I feel like they're just big, and so I don't have envelopes to send those in, but yes, that's a great idea. I think I personally like these cards because it's personally from me, and it's, like my personalized, it just looks a little bit more branded to myself, but that's not necessary. If you're just getting started out, or if you're busy, if you don't want to spend money, like, yes, absolutely use what you have. And tweak, you can tweak all of this. You can, if you want to write it all out, or if you want to type it all out, that's fine. But I think it's really cool in the beginning when you're giving a sample to go ahead and start planting those seeds. So whatever that looks like for you, totally fine, go for it. But yeah, those brochures are really great. I have them. I just don't use them because I don't have envelopes big enough, right? Because aren't they the ones that are a little bit longer and skinny? So, but if you have envelopes that fit. Okay, so that's sample. So now that I've sent this out, I'll wait a couple of days and then I'll just follow up and say, hey girl, did you get the sample in the mail? I like to make sure that I'm pretty on top of things when it comes to samples, because you guys, like, this little tiny card can get so easily lost, right? Like, this thing, if it came to me, with all the stuff I get in the mail, it could get lost. So I'm just like, a couple of days after I send it, I want to make sure that, number one, they got it, and number two, they don't just like throw it away. So I just simply say, hey girl, did you get your sample? Always end in a question so that they know that they need to reply. And then I get, you guys know, you'll get a few things like, yeah, I got it, but I haven't had time to try them, or yeah, I got it, I'm trying it tonight, or yes, I tried it, here's what I thought about it. And then you kind of just go with it. I'm the type that I try to let them not control the conversation, but them make themselves think they're controlling the conversation. So I let them if they say that they haven't tried it, I'm like, yeah, girl, like totally understand that. I mean, I don't expect you to be thinking about Color Street 24/7. And that's a good point. Like, just because your business is your priority does not mean that your business is their priority. So they're not thinking about it like you are. So that's why I think following up is so important. But anyways, follow up, I can do a whole training on that. We have training on that. I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but I will say following up is really the only way I've gotten my business to where it is. If I would have solely relied on people just reaching out to me after sending a sample, I would be okay, but I would not be where I am. Okay. So following up is the most important thing from turning a sample into a customer, and you're building that relationship. You're letting them know that you care. And that's really important. So now I'm going to chat about what I send when people order. So there's a few different things that I do. When someone tried a sample, they loved it. And I, in a very strategic way, if they have not gotten back to me, I'll say, like, it'll be a week later. I'll say, hey girl, I like to offer my new customers $10 sets for my inventory. Can I get you anything? Or send them a picture and say, do you see anything you like that you would like to snag? So say that happens and they buy something from my stock. I will, in an envelope, I send them the set that they bought. And then I send them those 2 brochures that I make. So these 2 things. Even if I send it in a sample, I'm going to send it again. That's a habit for me, because I'm afraid, I just want to make sure I get it to everybody. And so I'm afraid I just don't ever want to leave it out. So even if I did send them a sample and it was in there, I still send it again, just out of habit, and you can never see it too much, right? And then something extra I do, I'll send a couple of accents. Like if I have an accent that matches even remotely close to something that would match this, I add 2 samples with that. And that's just kind of like my little gift to them, for using me as their stylist. If I don't have a sample that matches, I'll send something that I think they would like and just say, hey, I sent 2 accent nails for your next order. And then I've listed out some things that I think would be pretty with the accent nails that I give them. I think going that extra mile with a customer is really what keeps them around, and that's what you want. You want somebody to be loyal to you, because even though we only have about 60,000 stylists, we're going to be growing more and more and more, and their cousin might start selling, or a neighbor might start selling Color Street. You want them to be loyal to you. So building a relationship with them, going the extra mile, is really important in this type of business. So that is what I do. And the same thing after that, you guys. Once I feel like it's gotten to their house, I give it a couple of days. I follow up. I say, hey girl, did you get your set? And a couple of answers can happen. But and then I just start to keep that communication rolling. All right, does anybody have any questions so far? Talking pretty fast, but I want to make sure we get all the information. Okay, so that's what I do when people buy from my stock. When I, in Facebook parties, get orders, most of those are always new customers. So when I am sending, or when I get an order in from a party, I always send a thank you note, a handwritten thank you note. If you're not doing this, start now. This is so important, and it's so helpful with building a relationship with your customers. You have no idea who they are, right? So it's very similar to what I send people who buy from my stock, but I'm obviously not sending a set. I send them these things, these 2 things. I write a handwritten thank you note, just thanking them for their order. Again, if I have accent nails that I think match what they got, I send them 2 accent nails. Sometimes, if I'm feeling generous, I'll send 2 separate colors if I have something that matches a couple of sets of their order. And then same thing, if I don't have anything that matches, I just say, here's a couple of accent nails to use for your next order. And honestly, you guys, you would think that I go through accent nails like candy, but I mean, it really goes a long way. And I feel like it's worth it. I mean, how much is a pack of accent nails is like 50 cents, I think, when you break it down. So at most, I'm sending somebody $1 for, thanking them for their order. So for me, it's worth it. You could do other things. I mean, some other things that I've done before are those rubber cuticle pushers that I get off of Amazon. Super, super cheap. They fit in an envelope. They're not too thick. I just slap an extra stamp on. But you could do like a little card that says 10% off your next order or something. But I just really like to add a little something to their thank you note. And I do that pretty much with every order, to be honest, not just new customers. When I have somebody that's repeating ordering with me, I like to thank them for their loyalty, right? Because again, they probably know more than one Color Street stylist and they're choosing to order from me. So okay, so now it's 8:26. I might, unless y'all have like major Facebook party tips, I might save that for the next one. Yes, I will post a picture, Tamara. I'm pretty sure it's on there somewhere already. I could show you. I don't know where they are. I did used to make them in squares. Like square cards, and they looked really nice and pretty, but I just could not. I've been using these sample cards, and I couldn't find envelopes that fit my square cards and these, so I started making the postcards. But I will definitely post like my wording and everything like that. On the other side, so originally when I made these with my story, it was blank on the other side, but when I redid them and made these new ones, I just put a picture of everything that comes in the kit. And it says New Stylist Kit at the top. So I thought that was neat so they can see. So basically it is like one of the brochures that you can get off the website. Anybody have any other questions? I hope this was helpful. I feel like sometimes it's just good to have like those practical things. Like what does it look like for you, like for tracking? What does it look like when you send samples? And that's fine. Yay, Carrie, I'm glad it was helpful. I'm glad you guys hopped on. I'm going to continue to start hopefully just making these like 30 minutes or less because I want to be respectful of you guys' time. So I will hop off now. 6 days total. Wow. Yeah, I would be beat too. Tag your stylist when I post the recording tomorrow morning. We got 2 days left, you guys, of the month. So, and lots can happen in 2 days. I know I say that all the time. Brandy, it was something I had to really spend intentional time figuring out my follow-up system. And it took me a little while, and I definitely in the beginning did not do great at following up. And I feel like I let a lot of people slip through the cracks because of that. And so when I sat down to intentionally figure it out and say, I've got to start doing this better, and figuring out what worked for me, because you guys, you might try my system and it might not work for you, but there is a system that works for you, and it really is important. Like following up is and that's my whole funneling system. I don't know, how long, if you've seen one of my trainings, but I talk about like our whole business, the foundation are samples. Like it all starts with samples. If you can get a sample on somebody, then you have every opportunity in the world to turn them into a customer, and then get that customer, follow up with them, turn them into a hostess, get that hostess, have a great party. And even if you don't have a great party, it's not that big of a deal. I've had stylists sign up with me who their parties were awful and they still sign up because I'm just good at following up, building, a relationship with them. And then once, they've turned into, I'm like making sure that I get them at least presented with the opportunity. But it all starts with samples, and it all, like, everything comes down to follow up. Let's see. I like to use the tape on envelopes with sticks personally. Yes, I love those tapes too. Love it. My Google form is my best practice for follow-up with samples. Yep. What do you do if you have a party stuck at 50, the hostess is participating and posting selfies? So that's when, if you haven't already, I would offer samples. That is also when, if the hostess is participating in the Facebook group, I'll also make sure that she's still in communication with the guests that she invited. And then I'd have to also kind of go back to, did she just throw these people in a group, or did she personally invite? I find the ones that just are throwing people in a group and not like personally messaging them don't have as much success, because they're not really going to be willing to like reach out after the party to talk to the people and be like, hey, like, what's up? Where are you? Like, you wanted to be in the group. Like, why aren't you? Where'd you go? But if they personally invited them, then I'm like, hey, girl, reach out to your guests. See, ask them what color they're looking at. Like, I get them to just message them, see where they're at, what they're thinking. I give them like a little sample follow-up message that they can send them, and then we go from there. If they aren't willing to do that, but I feel like maybe it'll be good if I do that, because sometimes there's a lot of participation, but there's not a lot of orders. And if there's a lot of participation in the group, I feel like that's my chance now to reach out to them and be like, hey, I appreciate you participating in the group. Like, what colors are you looking at? Like, that's kind of my open door to form a relationship with these people. So if it's sitting at 50, start working behind the scenes of the party group. Continue to be active in your party group, but really start to work behind the scenes and message. Get your hostess to message. You try to reach out and message them. Maybe that'll get it going. Maybe next chat we can talk more about Facebook parties. If you're not in Foundations to Flourish group, get in that. We have so many great party trainings in there. And then, yeah, I think that's it. So I will let y'all go. I hope you have an awesome night. Again, 2 days left of the month. Let's finish strong. And I'm actually heading to New York next Thursday to go to not New York. First, we're going to New Jersey to home offices. Color Street Corporate, me and Leah, my upline, are going. So I won't be leading the new stylist training call next week. Shannon Hogan is going to be doing that. So any new stylists that you have within the last month, make sure they know about that call next Thursday. Shannon will be doing that one. I will be at corporate, so excited, and I'll be sharing everything that we're learning and seeing, and representing our team. There's going to be like 22 of us, I think, in the group, so I'll be getting lots of time with everybody at corporate. So if y'all have any questions that y'all want me to ask them or suggestions, let me know, because that's what I'm there for. So anyways, I hope y'all have an awesome night. See you later. Bye, guys.